Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the fourth season of BookBytes, rather long awaited from our last break just before Ramadan. But it's a fantastic time because there's been a lot of news in the literary world. Just last week, we had the South African Festival of Children's Literature hosted by the University of the Western Cape. And I launched the fourth in the Nisa Kamar series, The Circle of the Astrolabe, to some great reviews. And there's been a lot happening. We also look forward to a new festival coming up at the end of this month, or rather on the 1st of August, which is the Josie Books and Blogs Festival. And I have on air with me today, Festival Director Dr. Zaheera Jina Asvat. Zaheera Jina works as a lecturer at the Wits School of Education. She's the editor of 4 books, Riding the Samosa Express, an anthology called Saffron, and the first two of the Tween Tales series, which we'll be talking about today. Book 3 has just been launched, and it was edited by Fatima Biku Shah. So we'll be hearing more about the exciting program of getting to these publications. She's also the author of Surprise and the Stimu Math program for preschoolers. Zaheera is the curator of the Josie Books and Blogs Festival, and it's a non-profit initiative aimed at inspiring expression through reading and writing. They run workshops, and they have a fantastic lineup coming up at the end of this month, which we'll hear more about. Zaheera, welcome to the show, and it's so wonderful to be able to chat to you especially about your Tween Tales series.
Thanks so much for having me, Shafinaaz. It's good to see you after a long time.
I think we just have to make do with the virtual reality for now until we can meet properly. Tell us about, firstly, what can we expect coming up with the next festival? Your Josie Books and Blogs Festival should be about the 4th or the 5th year running. Tell us more about that.
Okay, so it's on the 1st of August this year. We're having it virtually, and we're going to be we're going to have sessions where we'll be addressing publishing. Publishing is a big topic that everybody phones me and wants to know more about, how to publish, how the different types of publishing. So we're going to have a session on that. We're also going to have a session with you, Shafinaaz, where you're going to be discussing literature, tween literature, teen and tween literature with Hamilton Wender and Fiona Snikers and Hinesh Vital. We're also having meet Gulshan Mia. Gulshan Mia is an actress that's in the USA, and she'll be having a chat with Ria Safi. So we have a wonderful lineup, and there's also another session with you where you'll be discussing the new upcoming book on Indianness, right, Shafinaaz?
Right, we look forward to that, and it's clouded in a little bit of mystery while we're editing and fixing and getting it together, but we promise to have something quite exciting for you on the D-Day, so to speak. How many years has this been running, and what outreach do you have through the festival?
This is the 6th year that the festival will be running. It's the first time that we're doing it virtually. We've always had a very, very good lineup. We've had probably 80 to 90 different literary folk that have come online, creative folk, people from different areas. This time we're also having a tween writing course that we're offering to tweens in the morning. It will be sponsored by Yiz House. So Yiz House will be doing that in the morning for the tweens. And it will be similar to what we do with Tween Tales. Yeah. Quite excited.
So
it's going to be on the 1st of August.
Yes, that takes us to your series, because you've been developing young writers through your Yiz House Publishing, and you've created this Tween Tales series. Tell us where that began and what your vision is for the series.
Okay, so it happened last year around lockdown. It was the beginning of lockdown, and when the president actually announced lockdown. And I created this course, the Tween Writing Mentorship. And the idea was to get young children to dress their words, to make it more interesting, to use metaphors, different types of imagery, personification, to dress their words and make it more detailed and interesting. So they must actually feel it when a reader reads what they what they're writing, they must be able to feel it, smell it, taste it, that kind of thing. And the tween writing mentorship, the first intake was very, very well received. We had 8 tweens, and we took them through. It was a 20-day tween, 20 days, 20 minutes a day. And I mentored them. I did the first tween writing mentorship, and I mentored them into writing a 2,000-word story, as well as a description of the world out there, how they perceive COVID lockdown. And it was amazing what the kids came up with. And then I said that, you know what, I can't just leave it at this. I need to actually take what they've done and publish it. So that's how we published the first Twin Tales book, which is this one here. I don't know how to do it. Okay, so this one was the first one that we did. It's the first Twin Tales. And then from here, we went on to the second one. And the second one, somebody else, Bibi Aisha, Monia Hafaji actually taught it for us. And the third one, Fatima Biku Shah did it for us. And the third book was actually launched last week. It's called Twin Tales 3, Locked in the Library. So now we've got 3 Twin Tales, and we've actually gone on. We're starting our next intake. We're taking our next intake in August. This year, the 1st of August, we'll start with our next intake.
So normally you would have a group of writers, and you would mentor them around a table, perhaps, or in a classroom.
Yes.
How has that changed, and are you doing it completely virtually right now?
Yes, so it's completely virtually. It's one-on-one. The mentor actually sits with the child via Zoom, arranges a time that will suit the parent and the child. The parent also sometimes sits in the sessions, and the mentor does the mentorship. And like I say, it's 20 minutes a day, because kids can't really concentrate for longer than that. And then they get tasks to do, which they take away, work on it, right? And then the mentorship actually goes on for longer than the 20 days, because, right, like I told you, the 2,000-word story needs to be developed. But it's amazing what the kids write, because my son actually did the first mentorship with me. He didn't actually partake in the mentorship because I was a teacher, but he sat in the sessions where he would, because there's lots of interactive games for the kids to play. So he would be the competitive player, and he would play these games. And he actually entered the Cura Create competition for creative writing, and he got the Kryptonite prize. So after doing this course, you can actually breathe the imagery. You'll just want to write imagery. Even as adults, like we've had adults that have done this third writing mentorship with Fatima Biku Shah that have told me that they felt like they wanted to write after doing it. So it's been amazing. So now what we've done is for our next intake, not for the next intake, what we put out for all our writers that have done it so far, we've had about 24 kids that have done the mentorship so far. We want them to put in another 2,000-word story with an ending that's very surprising. It must be surprising ending, and there must be lots of detail and lots of imagery in the story. So we want to publish our Twin Tales 4 based on that. And like I say, we're going on to our next intake. So it's amazing. It's amazing what the kids learn from this.
We often talk of writing as a form of healing, as trauma kind of processing. And it's amazing also when you're dealing with children, that they're so uninhibited. And so it's obvious in your excitement that you've been able to generate that in the form of these writings. How many children are featured in each of the collections? And how do you go about choosing who to put into those publications?
Okay, so we basically had all the kids that have participated and have been published. Only in the first one, there was one child that chose not to. And I think in this third one, there's been one child that has not chosen not to. But all eight kids because we keep it very limited also. We don't want lots of kids. And like I tell you, we did one-on-one. So we have 8 kids per mentorship, and those 8 kids feature. So their poetry gets put into the book, and there's short stories. And like you say about them, in the first book, we actually wanted the kids because we were in lockdown 5 in the first book. The first mentorship started on the first day of lockdown. So I wanted the kids to actually write about their experiences of lockdown. So I asked them to write about the world outside my window. And I actually thought they would write about COVID-19. They would write about lockdown, but it was so amazing that they didn't. They wrote about everything else. And it was really, really, for me, I looked at it in a different way, in the sense that our kids didn't really perceive what was going on at that point. I think for them it was just this holiday from school type of thing, and they just had the
Okay.
mentorship that was type of school type of thing that was going on. But it was really, it's we just look at it in different ways. And the amazing thing is, in each collection we've had a different theme. So we've worked on a theme. So the second one has been Adventure Camp. That's the second one, Adventure Camp. And all these
Okay.
stories, all 8 stories about different features of camp, different features of being at a national park and the experience of a national park, but it's in a story format. And our main aim is that we try to promote with our kids that something must happen in the story, and one of the characters must solve the problem at the end. So it can be anything, and it's amazing what these kids come up with. And we storyboard with them, help them with the ideas, but they write, and then we help them with the editing, and that's how we produce the book. And it's amazing because they publish authors after that, if you look at it.
No, it's fantastic because it's both encouraging, and your
Yes,
mentorship is empowering as well, because these
yes,
children will go on to write, continue to write, hopefully, and
yes,
continue
yes.
to publish as well. If parents and children were interested in joining your mentorship, what would the procedure be? How would they get in touch with you? And what is the process of either choosing and possibly, because your groups are limited, in some ways eliminating for the next round or whatever the case might be?
Okay, so they just have to drop me an email on Yiz House Publishing. Yiz is YIZ, housepublishing@gmail.com. And then we'll give them the relevant information. And another thing is, Shafinaaz, like we don't charge you get a lot of, you in publishing as well. So, like vanity publishers will go out and give you this whole quotation that they'll charge you for editing and for layout and putting, even though you're having a story in the book, they'll charge you for it. We don't charge for that. We publish the children's books, we publish the book. And once we have, because when the royalties, we don't give the royalties to the kids, we don't give the royalties, we always choose we choose a charity, the children choose a charity, and then we donate the royalties to their charity. So it's quite it's something for the motivational for the kids as well, because they're getting to choose a charity, and then they know that certain amount of money will go to that charity, and it's their form of contribution as well.
I think it's
Yeah.
important that you have them part of that whole decision-making process. And yes, you
Yes.
do, um, in some ways get vanity publishing, but you also get assisted self-publishing, where
Yes.
stories and
Yes.
material is put together with, where smaller publishers are able to have a better kind of reach in that sense. So I'm really pleased to see that, that you've got the Tween Tales series, and that it's such an empowering process for yourselves and for the young writers that are experiencing your mentorship. And we look forward to seeing more of them and to engaging, especially on the panels at Josie Books and Blogs Festival
Yes.
coming up. What about future writing in terms of adult publications? What can we look out for?
I've actually got, for myself, I've got a book that's Mojaji Books is tentative in publishing. It's a short story collection, fiction, Tears of the Weaver and other stories. So that's out. But as an academic, as you know, you need to get those peer-reviewed articles out. So we're trying with that as well. So yeah, so I'm busy with both of that. Yes.
I have huge respect for how you juggle so many caps, along with being a mom and a homemaker and a daughter and such a fantastic friend. And I wish you so much of success in all of your endeavors, because you put so much of thought and of making a difference and creating change in the work that you do. So we look forward to reading more of the Tween Tales series. What advice would you give young writers as a mentor, young and adult writers as well, who are looking to start up writing their own stories?
I think it's important that everybody writes their stories. It's important to pen your thoughts. There's a lot of empowerment in the personal narrative as well. As you know, Shafinaaz, you and I have contributed to the book that has come out now, which I think it's important. I think we're all passionate about certain subjects, and it's important that we actually write about this and get it out. Everybody has a story. Everybody can write. I think with kids as well, They just need to have the tools to write, and they learn tools very quickly. Kids are learn very, very quickly, and they can just empower themselves and write. And I think it's important that everybody writes and everybody tries to publish. Thanks.
I'm glad you mentioned, with the upcoming anthology that we've had the opportunity to contribute. When Secrets Speak by Sue and Nyati will definitely be something for people to look forward to, and
Yes.
we're hoping to, have some virtual events and discussions
Yes.
that'll
No, I think
definitely generate.
it's an important conversation. Yeah,
And
I
I look
think
forward to reading
gender-based
your.
violence is an important conversation. I look forward to reading yours as well, Shafinaz. I hope we'll. I'm actually looking forward to receiving the books sometimes next week. Yeah.
So I hope we'll be able to have a session at JBBF if they'll allow it as well, because I'm sure that'll make for powerful discussions as well. I think that the
Yes.
narratives that come
Yeah.
out of our communities, as you rightly said, are so important. Not just to document our social history of the time, but to create those discussions and to have something for future generations to
Yes.
be able to look back on and rely on, as we create solutions to the issues around us and as we move forward, in many ways. Zaheera, thank you so much for your time. I look forward
Thanks so
to
much for having me.
having further conversations at the festival, and
Yeah.
um,
Thank
and
you
I
so
wish you
much.
well on these projects as you go ahead and have more of these mentorship programs and more publications that come out from them. Thank you so much once again for joining
Thanks
us
so
on
much.
BookBytes. And I hope that more parents and young potential writers get in touch with Yes Publishing, to find out more about how you can be part of the Tween Tales series with Dr. Zaheera Jina Asvat.
Thanks so much.
And there you have it for our first session of season 4, a wonderful and entertaining discussion with Dr. Jina Asvad, of Years House Publishing, of the Josie Books and Blogs Festival, bringing out their Tween Tales series. We look forward to the next session, where we bring you another proudly South African author. And until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.